We're under the overall point of control. But if I was to take it from when we lose 9 cents and see where we are from the lower range, we're teetering just above it. You see that? Just above it. So we're in a very kind of decisive point in the charts right now when it comes to TRVL. And I think when it comes to how you approach this, there are different ways to look at this. You go all in now and just hold your breath, or do you have an actual trade plan that you're executing? And I don't think it's a good idea to just go all in and hold your breath ever. I think you have to have a trade plan, a plan of how to enter, when to enter, and how to exit when it comes to any kind of token or asset. You can't just hope for the best. I think the problem with the bull market is that it's so forgiving, because especially in the hysteria and the hype, you can enter wrongly or badly, and because of the hysteria, your price still goes up. So you still make money, and you think that just because you made money that you executed correctly, but actually it's the forgiveness of a bull market will make you complacent, and then you can lose a lot more down the line. It's very important to have a plan. And I think with TRVL, there's no different. You have to have a plan. Are you planning to trade this on an intraday basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a whatever basis? Or are you looking at a much greater time horizon, at a much farther distance? And I think that's important. Because obviously I'm doing like almost daily commentary on the price, because it's a hobby. I love it. It just excites me. It's fun. I like to look at the chart on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, and try and figure out what's going on and try and decipher the future and try and predict the future. It's fun. But I'm not buying and selling as a result of what I'm seeing or thinking or imagining. Yeah, so, and I'm executing my trade plan. That's what I'm actually doing. And what if anything, I'm formulating a better trade plan, or I'm improving my trade plan, but I'm not reacting to the markets. The markets are very volatile. You can't behave that way, and you can't be so reactive. So it's better to have a plan. I think the best strategy for a very illiquid, relatively new token like TRVL with a massive growth opportunity, massive potential, the best way to approach this kind of token, which hasn't yet been launched on tier 1 exchanges, hasn't yet been publicized to the masses, hasn't yet been discovered by all of the crypto influencers and all of the larger players in the crypto field. I think the best way to approach this is to start scaling in small amounts on a regular basis, just dollar cost averaging in. And I think now is the moment to do that. I think it was a few months ago, but I think now, if you haven't started to do that, then now is the moment to do that. We can, if you start to scale in, then you're not really worried about exactly what price you entered. You're focused more on your position size and your bag size, and trying to build that position size as much as you can without pushing the price up too much. Because in a very liquid environment, you know, even $100 or $200 can move the price up 1% or 2 or a few percent. You know, that's the problem. There's a large gap. There's a large spread between bids and asks, between buyers and sellers, and sometimes it's a few percent, depending on how volatile or how liquid the market is. So it's not good to have that kind of approach. It's better to, on a regular basis, and I think now we're approaching the moment where you should think about dollar cost averaging in to this asset, to this token, as a matter of habit, as a matter of course. And eventually you will catch the lows, your position will catch the lows. And in a bull market, I mean, we're entering a bull market now. As the price goes up, it will go up in waves, however it goes up. As long as you're regularly, without fail, continuously doing the same action with the same amount, you'll end up with the best average. On average, you will end up with the best average. It won't even matter what the price is, you know, and that's always the best way. You scale in over a long period of time, and it's much, and then you're not too stressed about the price fluctuating or being so volatile on a day-to-day basis. You're more kind of concerned about the longer time horizon, about the future of this project and where this project is going to lead. I think most people, when I say most, I mean literally most, I mean 99.9% of people should try to approach it like this. I mean, trading is very difficult, extremely difficult, and I think it's better in a bull market, it's better to just approach most tokens to scale in, dollar cost averaging. I think that is how I would approach it. I am approaching it, you know. I could trade, but no, I don't. I dollar cost average because it's just so much simpler and it's less stress, very stress free. I think when it comes to something like TRVL, we're looking at a game changing token, and in many ways, first and foremost, the travel industry in Web3 is an empty space. It's hollow, it's a vacuum, it's completely unoccupied space. So a lot of people, I'm like looking at the different kind of tweets and stuff and social media posts, and people are talking about DeFi or gaming or AI or layer 1s and layer 2s and all this kind of stuff and whatever, and no one's talking about travel. And I'm like thinking that what's happening, what it is that the applications, or the decentralized applications that exist right now, they're not like applications which people need on a day-to-day basis. You know, they're not like your Ubers or your Amazons. They're applications more very niche applications geared toward very specific markets. What Dtravel is an application that has a massive reach. It reaches everyone because everyone loves to travel. Everyone wants to go on holiday. Everyone needs to take a vacation. Everyone is looking to go somewhere for Easter break or for the summer or for Christmas or wherever. Everyone travels. Everyone, for whether it's for work, whether it's on vacation, or whether it's a getaway, everyone travels. And this is a completely empty and unoccupied space in Web3. There's no reason to think that in 4 or 5 or 10 years time that these Web2 giants will remain top of the field, ahead of the field, ahead of the class, top of the class. There's no reason that all of these giants in Web2 will eventually, dare I say it, fall, but in many, they will be disrupted. In the same way that Bitcoin is disrupting aspects of traditional legacy ideologies and systems, there's a lot of opportunity here. There's a lot of growth, room for growth here for Dtravel and Travel, TRVL, to do the same thing. I'm looking at a long hold here, a long-term asset, and I think once the tokenomics has been changed, and once we have a launch of the consumer-facing AI search engine, AI-powered search engine, I think it will start to make sense to a lot of people. So we're early, we're very early. Anyone who's in it now is extremely early. And when you look at the charts, when you're looking at the price, okay, you're getting it for extremely cheap, extremely cheap. Look at this. The point of control, you're buying right now at the point of control where most of the volume is. The only other highest volume node is underneath us is 2.5 cents. So between 3 cents and 2.5 cents, that's basically the best price right now for this token. And it's a very liquid environment. There aren't many tokens in circulation. There's only about less than 300 million in circulation. And from what I understand, and I could be corrected, but the other 700 million are going to be locked up, and they will be only available for release based on a competitive reward system directly related or connected to Dtravel real world assets bookings. We're just waiting for the tokenomics document to be released, and that's going to happen in the next few weeks. And Cynthia from Dtravel, the CEO of Dtravel, she announced that yesterday in Telegram. So this is a very special moment for anyone who's watching my videos and this video now. This is a very critical and special moment because you have the opportunity to get in very early and to participate in this project or this movement, this token, this movement that we're about to create and we're about to ignite. When it comes to higher time frame targets, I said to you in the past, like, let me go back to my previous chart, which is on Max, right? Let me hide this. So I do think that we have, so this white line that I have now is, I think, is a very important bull market band line, this line. This is a trend that's just begun. You see this white line? So as time passes, obviously the low of this line is going to get higher and higher. So by February the 24th, this line will come to the current price. I don't really want to see this line lost in any meaningful way. If we come back to this line, I want this line to be tested, and I want to see a big bounce. You know, like, I think this line is now becoming, as time passes, I think this line becomes more and more important. And going forward into the future, I think this line is going to play a very important role, to the point that where we are I can't see the timings because it's not printed here, but I just think that going forward, however far future you look, I don't ever want to see that line lost now. You know, we've created it off these two lows, this all-time low, and then this test, and it actually came in to that kind of level 2. We've created this kind of trend line, and I just don't want to see that lost again, ever again. But when it comes to like higher time frame analysis and time horizons, I think we're still in some sort of Wyckoff accumulation, and that would make sense. And I've kind of laid out my thoughts here. I think we've sprung. Now we're just testing, test. We need a couple of tests. And then we push up, and then we have the last point of support. Then we have the buy up, the lowest point of support, buy up, and then that becomes the lowest point of support. Then we have an SOS, and then we have a markup, right? I don't know how, like I've imagined an Elliott and a 5-wave Elliott. This is my imagination. This is all open to speculation. Like, who knows how this is going to play out? No one can really predict the future, but any of these points could be anywhere. The only caveat is that 4 cannot be underneath 1, yeah, and 3 cannot be the shortest. That's the only 2 conditions there are. But everything else is made up, you know, like even this channel, I've just imagined that channel to exist, you know. I don't know if it exists or not, and maybe it will. Maybe it doesn't. We'll see. Once the price comes up to those levels, and if I start seeing a reaction, then I'll know it does exist. And if it doesn't, then I'll just delete it. It's just the way you can do this. When it comes to like a higher time frame targets, people have been asking me, what are your targets? Well, let me just put these back actually. Let me just hide the ones that I don't want. Get rid of this. Get rid of these. Get rid of these. Get rid of that channel now. Should have just got rid of all of them. I think 9 cents is critical. Like I've said this many times in the past, and I think it's really important that people understand how crucial 9 cents is. 9 cents was the launch price of this token, and now you're buying it on discount. You're basically buying it 1/3 cheaper than the launch price. So anyone who entered in at the beginning, you're getting it cheaper than them. And what's crazy is at the beginning there was nothing. It was just an idea, and now we have so much, and it's 3 times cheaper. You know. So as of yet, there hasn't been a reflection of the value of the technology, the development, and the network hasn't translated into the token yet. So when it does, you're going to get a real markup in price, in value, when that happens. But when it comes to targets, and again, this is all about time horizon. Right now you're looking at dates, years going into the future. And obviously the bull market has something to do with it. So where shall I bring it back in? So this is the bull market. But what was interesting for me is what I was this trend-based fib time, right? So actually, let me get rid of the bull market. lines. So I created this trend-based fib time, and on the weekly time frame, I noticed that the 618 corresponded perfectly with the all-time low there. And the way I drew this was from the all-time high down to this first significant all-time low to the first rally that followed to the point. So from that high to this low to this high. You can mimic the same as me on your charts using trend-based fib time. I think a lot of people are going to go like, oh, Bitcoin, but actually we're dealing, I think when it comes to real world assets, it's a completely new area, a new kind of space when it comes to Web3, and Dtravel is pioneering, is leading the way when it comes to that. And so no one can really predict the future when it comes to real world assets. No one really understands how much growth there is in that technology. And a lot of people, it's kind of like NFTs. When the first NFT was printed or minted, no one really understood how big NFTs was going to be until it became huge. And I think we have that on our hands right now with real world assets. So no one really understands how big this is going to be. No one really knows how far this can go, you know. But when you're looking at this technically, I like to look at this technically. You take it from the all-time high to the all-time low, and you have a fib extension. And on your fib extension, you can add levels. And the key ones are always going to be, I like to use, in the first instance, 1.272, 1.414, but never beyond that. I only use the 618s and the whole numbers. So if I was to remove that, and obviously you have the 1-to-1, which is back at the all-time high. You go for the 2, the 3, the 4, and then you go for the 618, it's like the 3-618, and then you have the 2-618 wherever it is. If it's not there, I'm gonna have to add it in. I can't see it. 2-618, and then the 3-618, the 1-618, and then can put the 4-1-618 as well. Oh, it's we have one there. Alright, good. Basically, when it comes to targets, those are your targets. Right? Just the way it is. So my first target is the 1.618, which is $23.52. That's my first significant higher time frame target. All right. Doesn't mean I'm not going to take profit at $1 or 1.568, the 1-to-1 rather, at the 1-to-1. Doesn't mean I'm not going to take profit along the way, but we're just looking at the higher time frame. And so what you can do is you can look at these levels and say, okay, now it might be inconceivable for us to imagine a $125 token right now. Yeah. But who knows the future? Who can predict the future? If the Dtravel network suddenly became as big as Airbnb, yeah, of course it's going to get up to $125. Get up. It'll be higher than $125. Of course it will. Why wouldn't it? Airbnb is like a $90 billion market cap company. They have a lot of overheads and expenses. This is a completely different kettle of fish. And also, look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin is $1 trillion crypto project. What is it? It's a technology, So anyway, these are your levels, so why not? And you have to think, yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the time horizon, yeah, looking at this chart. We go to the monthly time frame. Let me get rid of the fib time for a second. These are the levels, yeah. Now, when you're looking at that, okay, so a lot of people won't look at this on log, and they'll look at this on like a regular time frame, right? So this is what you're looking at now. Oh, actually, so you'd have to change that because the Fibonacci, you have to change it based on, these fibs are based on log, they're not based on the normal price. So I like to use log because it's with exponential charts, you have to use log. But yeah, I mean, if you look at that, I think once we clear the all-time high, and we have to see how we clear it, you know, this is really important, with how much volume that we clear the all-time high. Like right now on the monthly time frame, look at that inverse, green candle. That's bullish. It's a bullish candle in the lows. You know, is it increasing volume? Yeah, the volume is good. And that's just on MEX. I'm sure on the other, I think on KuCoin the volume is really high, much higher. We'll see how we come out of this, how much volume comes into this, and that's going to really tell the story. The volume and the candle is going to really matter, and how we consolidate and how we set up the next platform to go up, and how we approach it. Like obviously, if this was something to go up like that on low volume, then everyone's just going to set, it will just be, it will look like that, and it wouldn't look great, you know. So it really matters how we get there. And yeah, but I do have these like higher targets in my mind in the higher time frame. So for me, the main thing is that the tokenomics changes, really important, and it becomes more of a store of value tokenomics with massive utility. And once we have those two changes combined, plus the AI search engine with all of the Dtravel listings and all of the direct stays able to be booked and found through the search engine, once that is launched, and coincide that with a Binance listing, a Coinbase listing, OKX, whatever, all the other exchanges, you combine all of these things together, I'm really thinking higher. I'm thinking much higher. I think once the market understands and gets a hold of Dtravel and what it is, and also the other great thing about Dtravel, like within the next 6 to 9 months, we're gonna be on every chain, every it's because we're chain agnostic, and that's something about the other tokens. They're not really chain agnostic. You know, when you're either a Solana fanboy or you're a Injective fangirl, whatever, or you know, you're a Polygon absolutist, or you're a Bitcoin maximalist, or whatever, you know. And I think this is very kind of immature and very petty. Like the next level and the next approach are going to be applications, decentralized applications, which are, they don't care about the chains, they don't care about the networks. It's cross-network, it's cross-chain. They're on every network, they're on every chain, and they have maximum reach because the application itself has maximum utility. which everyone needs and everyone wants and everyone will utilize. And so it's less about which chain is going to succeed or which chain is going to do better, but it's going to be more about how useful and how functional and how much and all the other benefits of this application is. And yeah, so these are my higher time frame targets. There's a big gap between 23 and $124. That's a large gap, but hey, you know, let's you know, who knows, like literally when I look at this chart and these candles and the way we've formed this structure, yeah, this is the monthly time frame, yeah, and looking and seeing how we get out of here and how we hold. Like, I think if you consider the whole of this as one big structure, like a one big foundational building block, we've been building a foundation now for the last 2 years. This is a foundation, right? So it's like a building block. Eventually, the price will pass this level, and then you're building a new foundation, a new building block, yeah. And I don't know how far that's going to go, and it might be to the next level like that, you know. It might take another 2 years. And then that's the next level, you know, and that's how it works. And then you just keep on building up. You just keep on building up. You just keep on building up. Building these levels of foundation. And that's what we want. That's how it works. Yeah. With this kind of token. And I think it's very different to like one of these niche tokens, these games or these kind of very specific utility tokens or these memes or whatever. Like, you've got these memes and they're like accelerating in value. It's all speculative. But my relatives, my family aren't going to buy that token ever. There's no reach. Like, it's very, maybe in the crypto world there's quite a large reach, but outside of the crypto world there's no reach. Yeah. And it's a pump and dump in the sense that a lot of people will eventually get burned because they bought the highs, and then the sentiment will go sour because there's absolutely zero utility or usefulness, and there's no value either. And this is completely different because we're talking about something that people love to do. They love to travel. They love to visit new places. They love to go to new cities. They want places to stay. A lot of people really enjoy going to areas where there aren't hotels, you know, localities, suburbs, just off the beaten track. They like that. We know that, you know, and there's a lot of people around the world who have properties and who obviously they can use Airbnb, but this is the future. This is the way of the future. This is the way the world is going. It's going to be cheaper. The insurance is better. It's all peer-to-peer, and the hosts are ultimately in control. They're in control of their profiles, their data. They own their business. So we're empowering hosts, and then when you combine that with the tokenomics, which is going to reward the hosts in the same way that Bitcoin rewarded the miners, the Bitcoin miners, it's going to be very it's going to be a big worm dangling in front of people. I think once the floodgates open and people start pouring in, this is going to become unstoppable. Yeah. And it's hard to imagine that now, but you know, it could happen. you know, it could happen. We could be going up there. Obviously, once we get up above the all-time high, then there's no limit, and that's kind of what I'm imagining. Right, enough of my monologue on TRVL. Let me have a look. So I wanted to chart